everyone, good morning. How is it going? I hope that you're doing well. I have tried to film this video so many times, and there's going to be a little bit of background noise because there's actually a thunderstorm going on behind me. So I hope that this turns out okay, but I wanted to share this really sweet, fun, feminine, flirty look I've really been enjoying using as I step into the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca Remix palette for my Pan That palette this year. However, if you want to also try this combination, because it's very appropriate, wearable for work, going to school, going to run your errands, super simple to do. You can easily shop your stash to recreate this. I have tons of different options for you that you might have already, and if you don't, they are easily to obtain. So I'm kind of going for a really bright, springy kind of vibe with the makeup, because the weather here has been alternating between pretty comfortably warm to cold. So you can go on and start rocking this if you're dealing with kind of similar temperatures where you're still able to wear t-shirts and things outside, or you can go on and use this as a really pretty spring transition makeup as we get into late February, March, and April. So super duper fun. The colors that I'm going to be focusing on out of my Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca Remix palette, kind of give you a sneak peek for Pan That palette. I'm going for the shades Muse, which is a matte pastel lavender, Anthem, Rewind, Lyric over here, and then also with Vox. I think that's it. So easy, easy, easy. And then I'm also dipping into my Lorac Mega Pro palette for the shade Apricot, but that is a really, really easy shade to choose from your collection. So go with a shimmery peach to put all over your lid. You're going to achieve the exact same effect. So if you're interested in any of the makeup that I'm wearing, base foundation and whatnot, go on and click the card above. I will take you directly to my January makeup bag picks. And then as well as talking about the comparable things as I walk you through the Get Ready with Me, I will also have everything listed in the description box below if you would like to reference it at a later date. So let's do this. Let's get into it. Okay, as we get into this, the easiest thing that you can do is to apply your very favorite eye primer. I went on and started my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre. And normally I would go on and set my eyeshadow with something cream like Wet n Wild's Brulee or Lorac's Cream. But because my colors in my Mi Vida Loca Remix palette are very muted with age and they fade, I'm not going to be setting those shadows because otherwise it just kind of blends them away as I'm applying my makeup. But if you're using other palettes from your collection with bright, vivid shadows, something like Juvia's Place shadows, or if you're using Colored Rain or the Urban Decay Spectrum palette, or your vivid eyeshadow singles, setting your eyeshadow eyeshadow primer, pardon me, might be something that you want to incorporate, so feel free to do this. So now as we get into the actual eyeshadow look, I am amping my lid color up a little bit just because I want it to be prominent against the rest of the eyes. And so what I am doing is I'm going in with a champagne eyeshadow base. This is the Wet n Wild Shadow Icon Idolize pencil in the shade Pixie, but really any shimmery champagne color is going to be very easy to find within your collection. Some suggestions that I love and that I reach for myself when I have them in my collection: the Julep powder or cream eyeshadow to powder stick in Pearl Shimmer. It comes in an eyeshadow crayon form, or the Maybelline Color Tattoo in the shade Barely Branded if you want it in the pot. And then also the crayon version, I believe it is called Barely Beige. Any of those are going to be fantastic options to go on and use all over your lid. Now, to start with my lid shade, I'm using an e.l.f. C brush, and I am patting the shade Apricot from my Lorac Mega Pro palette all over the lid. But like I said, this is a very easy shade to find in other palettes in your collection. Some suggestions that I would pull out, this is what it looks like. Some suggestions I would reach for: number one, the Too Faced Sugar Pop palette. The shade Macaron in there is a great substitution. It is much more orange when in the pan and when you swatch it. but when you apply it on top of that cream eyeshadow base, it looks the same as you start adding the rest of your eyeshadow colors in. So if you have this palette, it gives you another couple of ways to use some of these shadows, because we're going to talk about another one in just a minute. Or if you have NYX Orange. Also, the last time I was at Ulta, I swatched the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow single in the shade Fresh Peach. That's another fantastic alternative. So like I said, if you have any of like the Too Faced Peach Collection shadows, or if you have peach eyeshadow singles or any of those kind of summery themed palettes, you're good to go. Then as we get into our transition area, I really wanted a brightening effect, which is why I'm reaching for that shade Muse from my Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca Remix palette. I love the way that it gives some depth to the shadows on my eyes. It gives kind of a beautiful glowing effect. So the way that I'm applying Muse is I'm going through with just kind of a fluffy eyeshadow brush, and I'm running it all through my transition area. And I want to make sure that I concentrate a little bit of extra color on the inner portion of my crease area to make sure that I get that brightening effect, so you see the transitions from the dark part of the crease to the middle part of the crease to my inner corner. Because since I wear glasses and I have hooded eyes, I have to make those areas stand out a little bit more, so that way the hood of my eyes is not near as emphasized, if that makes sense at all. Now, if you do not have Muse in your collection, the shades that I would suggest, once again, pulling out the Too Faced Sugar Pop palette, the shade Strawberry Ice. It is shimmery, but what you can do with Too Faced shadows is treat them as mattes. So you put this on your fluffy eyeshadow brush, tap it firmly over the side of your counter, your vanity, your sink, to knock off that excess glitter, and then you can layer it up in your transition area. It's not meant to be like in your face punchy color, but it will give you enough to be a glow, kind of an ethereal effect behind that red that we're going to apply in just a minute. Also, if you have the Lorac Mega Pro 2, the shade Lavender out of this palette, really, really close to Muse. It's a slight bit darker, but right on trend with what we are going for. So there is Lavender. Let me swatch it with Muse so that you can see them together, because that's one thing I've commented in you know, some of the comments made on the Pan That Palette videos and whatnot. I've really realized the genius in this Kat Von D palette is purely the layout. Every single one of those shades you can find dupes for, so you don't have to be feeling like disappointed or remorseful that you didn't get a chance to you know, purchase the palette when it was available. You can easily find other things and recreate the very same looks and have fun with lots of color. So that was a pleasant surprise to find that lavender shade in the Mega Pro 2. Also, if you have MAC's Beautiful Iris, Makeup Geeks Phantom, or MAC's, I believe it's called Digit, is another one that is pretty close. I think Digit has a slight bit of shimmer, but again, kind of like with the Strawberry Ice, you can go on and still use it for that brightening, glowing effect in your eye, and it's going to be beautiful. And then going on to inner corner highlighting and our brow bone, I'm going through with my stock white eyeliner from NYX, and I'm popping it in on my inner corner because, once again, this is really going to help with the shadows to not fade, because my Lyric shade and my Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca Remix palette fades so fast. It is kind of annoying. So I'm doing it to amp it up. You don't have to do this step necessarily, but it helps me because it also makes my highlights stand out a little bit more under my glasses as well. So then after I highlight that inner portion of my eye area, I'm going through and I'm stamping Lyric into my inner corners and onto my brow bone. And I am pleasantly surprised to find out, if you have this shade Thunderstruck from Kat Von D to kind of keep the theme going, they are pretty close in color. Thunderstruck is a little bit more intense, but it is easily available at Sephora, or if you want to shop online, Sephora.com, if you feel like you're missing out on that shade. So easy, easy, easy. And then if you want some other alternatives, MAC's Shroom, Urban Decay's Blonde, Buxom Satin Seduction, or a couple of other ones that that are great substitutions. I've used Urban Decay Blonde in the past, and I've never had the chance to try Buxom Seduction, but when I saw it on Temptalia's kind of dupe page, I went into Ulta when I was there picking up some other things that I needed, and I swatched it, and it is pretty good, you know, pretty gosh darn close. to Lyric. So that gives you a nice alternative to still kind of keep that shimmery white to have a little bit of pink and gold shift in the background. And then we're going to go in with our crease work, and I'm using a Revlon crease brush. I'm stamping that color into my outer corner area, and I'm blending it in on top of that apricot shade and the Muse shade to really kind of give it a plummy, purpley vibe. I love the effect that this creates together along with that peach to give that, like I said, a sweet, feminine, fun, pretty look. And in terms of Rewind, I am thrilled to find that these are exact dupes for each other. But if you're missing Rewind, you can always pick up Kat Von D's eyeshadow single in Raw Power. They are the same thing. So this is what Raw Power looks like. Do a quick swatch. This is Raw Power. And then here is Rewind. So that gives you a nice alternative. You can always blend. I mean, Raw Power is honestly a little bit more intense, but you could always amp this up, and it's literally the same thing. How fun. So you can blend it up as intensely as you want or leave it as sheer as you want. I tend to go a little bit darker because I want it to stand out. And then you can always go back through and touch up the lavender shade on the inner portion of your eye if you feel like it's getting a little bit lost as you blend in those shades. Then to go in for liner, I'm using a brown color because I really wanted to kind of step away from the black liners for a while and use a brown. So I'm first lining my eyes with the Costa Riche liner from MAC. It's a beautiful espresso shade. You don't have to necessarily do this. You could go in with a shadow or use your favorite espresso liner. This just happened to be what's in my collection. And then I am setting it with the shade Vox from the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca Remix palette. That shade is so easy to dupe. I'm thinking already, if you have the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, Triple Fudge. Or if you have the Lorac Pro palette, the shade Espresso. There's also an espresso shade in the Lorac Mega Pro palette. I'm trying to think. Sephora has one called Roasted Chestnut. I'm trying to, Too Faced, one of the other palettes, no, maybe it's too old. I don't think, that one's going to necessarily be something you might have in your collection, but just a matte espresso shade. They're easy, so easy to find in the rest of your collection. And then in terms of my lower lash line, I wanted to go on and go back to a nude liner, so I'm using my MAC Studio Chromographic Pencil in NC15 NW20. You can go with any liner that you want if you want to use a pink-based eyeliner, like I talked about the Pixie eye brightening pen last month with my December makeup bag picks. I love using that when I'm using a lot of purples and things. Or you can go through with a white eyeliner, or you could use the purple that we're going to be using on our lower lash line. I tend to use the nude to make my eyes look a little bit bigger and brighter. So after you line your waterline, I'm going through on my lower lash line with the Maybelline Lasting Drama waterproof gel pencil in the shade Polished Amethyst, and then I'm setting it with the shade Anthem from the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca Remix palette, because Anthem's another one that fades on me pretty substantially. So, but I also found some other dupes for that as well if you're interested. So the first thing I thought about is Urban Decay blush in the shade Bittersweet. They are very, very close to being the exact same color. And then there were a couple of other ones. Urban Decay Spectrum palette. I don't remember what the shade is exactly, but the pinkyish purple in there. And then also, I'm trying to think what else. There was a MAC shade. Let me see, I wrote down some notes. MAC Vibrant Grape. That was the one that comes to mind. I've never owned Vibrant Grape. But I've heard it's pretty close. And then the Makeup Forever shade in I-90 is also pretty on target with that shade. So I would jump in with this Urban Decay Bittersweet because that's a big pan to use. So instant alternative, and I know a lot of us have that blush in our collection. And then as far as it goes for the rest of the face, I'm keeping it. I wanted to have those red tones, and so for blush, I'm using my Clinique blush in the shade Colourpop. Love this to have kind of a burgundy tone. And then lips, I'm keeping it really simple, but you can go with a lot of different directions. You can also change your blush to be a peachier tone to match kind of the peach on your eyes, or you could go with a really bright pink and then go with kind of a pinky nude lip. Today's lip, I'm wearing my MAC lip liner in the shade Whirl, and then I have topped it with my Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche lipstick in the shade Chai. I love this combination. It is super wearable for every single day. I don't have to think about it. It's giving me a really easy way to pan this lipstick and then have a fun, bright eye look. So I hope that you try this out too, that you have a lot of fun with it, have a blast shopping your stash. I know that was kind of a quick run through, get ready with me, but that's how it is. We've got a lot of these things and we can just get those ideas out and put them together, and you can tweak the style to fit with your eye shape and your style. So don't feel penned in with the products that I chose. Like I said, you can take this in all sorts of different directions with your blush, your lip color, your liner colors. You could also pair this with a blue liner. You could pair it with a teal liner. It's just, there's so many options available to you. So it's really a fun way to kind of step into this palette and make those bright colors a little bit more wearable on a daily basis. So I wish you all the best, and be on the lookout because I'm going to be filming another Get Ready With Me that is going to be more wintry based with deeper, smokier colors based on an old MAC quad that came out several years ago. I know it was highly popular, so why not? It'd be a lot of fun to shop our stashes and recreate it. Also kind of focused around the shade Rewind. So fun, fun, fun. Oh, I didn't even think about it. If you're also missing the shade Rewind or you don't have Kat Von D's Raw Power, this Clinique Blush and Colourpop is a great substitution that you can sub in for eyeshadows. So fun times. So that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time. I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. See you later.